Well, the first and obvious answer for me, at least from where I come from, is water. That's right across the subcontinent. It's going to become an increasing issue. We've all heard of the famous water wars that is predicted down the line, and much of this is, at least in my opinion, have very obvious answers in how they can be tackled. They're not easy, but they're obvious in how it should be done. The new cities or new developments are a lot easier to handle that way. But what we should really be concerned is looking at existing settlements and existing dense urban fabrics, and to see how to make them work better, not just from reasons like engineering or technology or transportation, but more embedded systems. How do you ensure that there is enough basic services for everybody? How do you make sure that the city is not in conflict with nature? And this is not to take back the development 500 years and have a romantic notion of what a city should be, but more to see how you can make the same urban settlement work better with less input of money and energy. There is really no single platform that addresses urban issues in an integrated manner in the country. We have many schools of excellence that looks at engineering or technology or city planning, but they all are siloed in their own expertises. So if we have to really understand how an Indian city works and how do you make it work better, you need a lot more integrated approach that looks at social, economic, political issues as much as physical issues. There has been a traditional divide between the two, especially so in our country, where a lot of the curriculum has been based on pro-one Western models. Now, what it was not tried and tested was to see how it can be situated in the Indian context. So the first challenge, of course, would be to develop the kind of curriculum that recognizes these challenges of what an Indian city really is and what are its challenges, and also to kind of produce, if I may use the word, the practitioners who are really ready to engage with these issues on a day-to-day basis and not just solve the problem in theory. We cannot really go with the traditional model of saying, okay, they will get into an architect's office or a developer's office or so on and so forth. But they will really have to be city practitioners, which means what Indian professionals have not been doing, which is to actually engage with the city at levels of the municipality or the ward level or the governmental level. And that is one very important space that IIHS graduates should engage in. This will be a very critical link in taking the agenda of IIHS forward, because it's one thing to produce a brand new set of practitioners who are aware of all this, but it is also equally important to dip into the large pool of available expertise. Though right now the orientation of such expertise is very limited in terms of, like I mentioned earlier, about the siloed mentality, and to bring them up to speed in terms of whether it is, for example, training architects and engineers in issues of governance or making public sector employees and government servants more sensitive to design. Both ways, the executive education will become a very critical link.